Why is it doing that?
Good morning, Internet. Wake up. It's almost booze o'clock, and you don't want to be late for booze o'clock. I'm your host, Dave, and welcome back to the Noisy Barstool Presents. Now, today we're going to be doing another how-to video. We're going to be presenting the Old Fashioned. The Old Fashioned is a super popular cocktail, and you'll see it or variations of it on menus all over the place. And there's good reason for this. One, it's a delicious cocktail, and two, it might be the first cocktail. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the history behind it in a little while, but for now, just realize it's got a legacy. And throughout the years, it's changed and changed and changed, and recently, it kind of changed back a little bit. See, 10 years ago, you might have seen it done with a little bit of soda water on top, or you might have muddled an orange or a cherry into it, but recently there's been a push to make it in a more traditional manner, which is good for all you just starting out bartenders out there, because it's actually an easier drink to make now. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing you'll need is a down cocktail glass like this. You'll need sugar, bitters, and whiskey. And a lot of places will use bourbon or rye, but really you can use whatever you like. You could use simple syrup. Some places will use simple syrup. Other places will use bar sugar, like turbinado or superfine white sugar. I have a little mixture of white and brown sugar right there that I'm going to use. And what you'll need is to take a spoon and put just maybe 1.5 to 2 good helping spoonfuls right there. Then you're going to take your bitters and you're going to want to saturate the sugar completely. What that means is you're just going to add bitters to it until it is completely covering all the sugar. You don't want to put too much bitters in it, but as you can see, that saturates the sugar entirely, just like that. Then you're going to want to take your muddler, and you're just going to kind of begin to crush up that sugar. And once you get a little bit of a crush on, take your orange, take your peeler, and get a pretty good sized orange peel, just like this. And what you're going to want to do with that is peel it over so that you get all the good orange oils out of the peel there. Then you're going to express the peel across the glass, maybe put it on the rim, and then just drop it in like this. Now, as you're crushing your sugar, it's alright if you agitate the peel a little bit, because that's just going to diffuse more orange oil into the cocktail. But you don't want to get to the point where you're accidentally grinding the peel too much, because you don't want any of that pithy white backing of the peel to diffuse in the cocktail, because that is going to make the cocktail kind of bitter and gross. The second thing you're going to need is your whiskey. So you'll need 2 ounces of whiskey, and what you're going to do is fill up your jigger here. And then once you've filled it with 2 ounces, you're going to pour it over your muddler to wash all of the sugar and the excess bitters off the bottom. There we go. Then you're going to add your ice. You'll add your ice in a couple of stages. So I'll add 2 or 3 now, and then I'll add a few more in a minute. And you're just going to stir. Now the ice is both chilling the cocktail down and melting a little bit and diffusing into the cocktail, kind of thinning it out. It's going to give your cocktail a little lighter flavor as it thins out, and if I'm being honest, that's probably good, because at this point, it's all booze. Alright, so I'm going to begin my stir.
Hey guys, voiceover Dave here, and I figured while I'm doing the boring stirring part, I could give you a little history behind the Old Fashioned. See, the name Old Fashioned is actually a reference to the phrase old-fashioned cocktail, or cocktail made the old-fashioned way. The earliest known use of the word cocktail was in 1806 in the publication The Balance and Columbian Repository, which describes it as being composed of spirits of any kind, water, sugar, and bitters, which means at the time you could have ordered any kind of spirit made the old-fashioned way. Gin, rum, brandy, it didn't matter. That having been said, by the late 1800s, old fashions were primarily made with rye whiskey. And it's claimed that Louisville's Pendennis Club was the first to use the term old-fashioned in reference to a bourbon whiskey cocktail. Anyways, that's enough history for now. Let's get back to making cocktails.
Alright, that's looking about the right color, about the right diffusion, so we are going to just top it with ice because everyone likes to have a glass that's full. And then, there we go. And then, you're going to garnish it. Now, for some bars, that peel floating in the bottom is going to be enough of a garnish in and of itself. But some places will either want you to put a fresh peel on top, or to drop a cherry on, or to sink a cherry. A lot of times if I'm going to put a cherry on an old fashioned and it has a peel already in it, I like to use a second peel because that way visually the customer knows that I know that it should be garnished with both a cherry and a peel. So first you'll take a fresh peel, you'll express it over the top like that, and then you're going to take a cherry. I have my bourbon cherries here that I mentioned in my whiskey sour video. And I'm actually going to make a cherry flag. So what that is you'll take your peel and your cherry, and you'll wrap them, and then you'll kind of skewer through both of them. And then I'm just going to drop it on the cocktail like that. And voila, an old fashioned. Well friends, I hope you found that informative. If you liked the video enough to actually give it a like, maybe think about subscribing to the channel or hitting the bell icon to get notifications anytime I put up new how-to videos. Speaking of which, if you want to take a look at the videos I've already put up, I'll put some thumbnails up here for you to take a look at my how-to videos and some of the more travel show oriented parts of my channel. But for now, I guess it's time to sign off. I've been Dave, your host, your personal bartender, and your friend, and as always, if it ever looks like your glass is half empty, that might mean you're just not drinking fast enough. Cheers.